This building is a single entity, but multifaceted.
Leutschenbach School for me is like a rock that stands firm while the breakers are crashing all around it.
At twilight especially, it sometimes seems to me like a spaceship that's come down to Earth.
It's 8:15 in the morning, start of the school day in Leutschenbach.
This is not a typical school building with a few walls and that's it. It's big and grey and made entirely of glass. And inside the glass is transparent green. I think they call it milk glass. Or is it glass milk? I'm not entirely sure. It has a staircase and classrooms and a lift for the teachers, which I think is a bit unfair.
The school in Leutschenbach has 292 pupils, ranging from preschool to sixth form, all under one roof. There are special remedial classes integrated in the school as well.
You did your homework very well. I've put it over there for you. I'd like to begin with maths. You'll find the plan for our maths lesson on your desk.
Headmaster Daniel Kern has been involved ever since the project was put out to tender and was on the jury that chose the design.
As headmaster, I had the good fortune of being able to build a new school from scratch. The building offers a wide range of teaching options and opportunities for developing the school. We have rooms we can use collectively, and in front of every classroom there's a big open space where teachers and their classes can work together on joint projects. It's a sustainable building, which I hope will always be able to satisfy whatever new demands teachers want to make of it for many years to come.
There's just a few weeks to go before the new school opens in spring 2009. Architect Christian Keres and Peter S. from the building contractors are on their monthly tour of inspection through the new Leutschenbach school.
They've done a good job.
It's fine, excellent.
It's taken nearly 7 years to see the new school through to completion, 1 year longer than planned. Soon the pupils will be arriving, but there are all sorts of problems still to be solved.
It looks so uniform, so slick. We'd actually prefer the concrete to remain visible.
I could also imagine leaving the concrete as it is and only patching up the really big holes.
The gym at the top still looks like a huge building site.
So now you can see a large part of the gym ceiling already finished.
Isn't it fascinating the way that angle is incorporated seamlessly into the ceiling structure, like tracery?
It's a huge area, but they've worked on it with the utmost precision. I never liked PE myself, but I'd love to attend a PE lesson here in this gym. Because here you have a view whichever way you look. You can even see the church towers of Zurich. The view alone should be incentive enough to want to do PE.
The gym at the top, a landmark visible for miles around. Leutschenbach School in Schwammendingen, north of Zurich. An area caught between post-war romanticism, dense new development and industry. No easy location for a school.
Schwarmendingen is a very tough district. There's a waste incinerator next door, a railway line, and a flight path overhead. So we wanted to create a structure that would stand out, with the gym as a lantern visible for miles around. In the evening, it's used by local sports clubs and becomes a beacon symbolizing all that's good and worthwhile about Schwarmendingen.
It all started with this model, with moku, Japanese for silence, which was the name given to the competition entry submitted for the new Leutschenbach school. It was created in the atelier of the architect Christian Keres in Zurich. Keres has been collaborating closely with the engineer Joseph Schwarz for 10 years.
For us, it was the first time we'd had such a large plot to play with. And we spent a very long time wondering where on this plot we could put the school. And no matter what we did, we somehow ended up destroying the plot by building over it. And then in the last 2 weeks before submission, in an act of desperation, we took all the points in our program and stacked them one on top of the other, if only to be able to preserve the unique expanse of the plot.
Everything under one roof, gym, hall, classrooms, everything here is housed in the same building. The idea was born and the challenge clear. Keres and his team went through more than 100 models before finding the optimal design. Nothing was left to chance.
What makes this solution so exciting is the repeated differentiation. Some things stay the same while others change. The gym is like the floor with the classrooms, but between them are 2 levels of public space. So the idea is repeated, but the spaces differ.
The excitement for us started with the idea of stacking the various structures one on top of the other, as that opened up great potential for the supporting structure. Suddenly, it was all a question of the right mass, the right weight. And it was clear that the best material for the frame would not be concrete after all, but steel.
The complex supporting structure is like a bridge. As with a bridge, the forces are absorbed by various crossbeams and girders, which in turn relay them to the 6 supporting pillars.
What is spectacular about this supporting structure is obviously the fact that the building rests on 6 legs. Although if you look closely, you will notice that only 4 of them are actually load-bearing structures. Each leg has to bear the weight of 25 4-axle railway locomotives.
A 1,000 tons of steel, 10,000 tons of concrete, 4,000 square meters of glass, a net construction time of 4 years. This radical steel structure with its pure glass facade is one of a kind and presented a challenge for all involved.
We had to grin and bear it. It took a while before the steel frame had settled into place so that we could carry on building. And people in the trade are not known for their patience.
It was a joint effort in which everybody was involved in everything. And that's bound to be much more costly and more time-consuming than when the various functions, planning and supporting structure are split up. No matter how intensively you work on a building, it always turns out to be just that little bit different from what you imagine. What surprised me about this building was how much the impression you get when you look out of it varies from floor to floor. It's not just the view itself that changes, but the view in relation to the ground. Another thing that surprised me was the light. It changes quite radically, is present everywhere, and can utterly transform the impression made by the various rooms. It's the job of an architect to create a backdrop, a context for everyday life, which is the one factor over which an architect has no control. But it's also what makes architecture come alive. I believe that this architecture is strong enough to survive the test of time, no matter how it's used.
It seems to me we've injected color into the school, which is something the kids here often miss. They like to see a bit more color. The architecture was deliberately held back in this respect. But I still believe we've injected color into the school, and of course life. We can hear each other better and are more aware of each other's presence. We're there, we're present, and the building itself has begun to breathe with us.